Parents accused of Michigan school shooter arrested after police say warnings were ignored. Let's take a look.
Two questions about what happened in the hours before last week's deadly shooting at a high school in Oxford, Michigan. James and Jennifer Crumbley, the parents of the accused shooter, are in custody after law enforcement tracked them down in Detroit. They've been charged with 4 counts each of involuntary manslaughter for allegedly allowing their son, Ethan, access to the gun that he's accused of using to kill 4 fellow students. Michael George is in Pontiac, Michigan. Michael, good morning.
Vlad, good morning. The Crumbleys and their son are all inside this jail, and they've all pleaded not guilty. And the school district faces more questions about allowing the accused gunman to remain in school after they say he was found in class with a disturbing note on the morning of the shooting. A manhunt led officials to a vacant art studio in this Detroit warehouse, where James and Jennifer Crumbley, the parents of the accused Oxford High School shooter, were captured early Saturday morning.
It certainly raises my eyebrows.
The couple was arrested inside a commercial space connected to this man, 65-year-old Andre Shakora, after failing to appear for an arraignment on Friday.
He didn't know that there were active warrants.
Through his attorney, Shakora said that he didn't know the Crumbleys had been charged. He thought he was just helping his friends.
They had received death threats all week, so they wanted to go somewhere where they could have some peace for a few hours.
They were never fleeing prosecution.
The couple appeared in a court hearing on Saturday, where their attorneys insisted they had not run from authorities.
They were terrified. They were not at home. They were figuring out what to do.
In a letter sent to parents Saturday, Superintendent Tim Throne said that one day before the shooting, a teacher reported Ethan Crumbley to school authorities after seeing him looking at ammunition on his phone. School officials say they reached out to Crumbley's mother, but received no answer that day.
So that could be like, oh, miscommunication, whatever, except it's not, because she was aware of it, and they reported that she basically told him not to get caught.
But according to prosecutors, phone records show Jennifer Crumbley later sent her son a text that read, "LOL, I'm not mad at you. You have to learn not to get caught." Prosecutors also say that on the morning of the shooting, a teacher saw Crumbley drawing images of a handgun and a person who appeared to be shot, with disturbing phrases including, "The thoughts won't stop, help me." The school said his parents were called in, and he allegedly told officials the drawing was part of a video game he was designing. His parents were told to enroll him in counseling within 48 hours, and they refused to take him home. But the school district also says Crumbley's answers led counselors to again conclude he did not intend on committing either self-harm or harm to others.
Get a kitty smart.
He was sent back to class, and prosecutors say just hours later began firing a gun. And
like, the parents absolutely are responsible. The video games being responsible is ridiculous, even though that is like somewhat of a narrative that people are trying to tie this to, which is ridiculous, obviously. I mean, it is a super outdated, super antiquated narrative that has been disproven time and time again, right? And it's fucking annoying. However, this kid, Ethan Crumbley, fucking 15 years old. He's a child. Okay. The system failed him. His parents failed him. His parents failed everyone spectacularly, buying him a gun, letting him have the gun.
Good morning, Hassan.
Seeing the signs over and over again that he might actually do something incredibly violent. And not do anything about it. It's horrible.
Out of this.
We're going to talk about the PlayStation Sony VP who's a pedophile who was caught on LSF and like some random pedo hunter stream. But yeah.
Big dogs are poggers.
But pulling the trigger wasn't the parents' fault. The kid was just in a shitty situation and didn't have the power to move from it. It was 100% the parents' fault, dude. What the fuck do you mean? Like, when you're 15 years old, you have you're nothing. Okay, you're like a shell.
I sent 1 year together hassle.
You're literally a shell. Okay. You're an empty vessel that is getting knowledge fed into it. Okay, you're like an empty operating software, and you're filling that operating software with like files. Okay, and those parents put a lot of fucking malware in there. I don't know how else to describe it other than like, you know, I'm trying to reach out to you and describe to you the situation here.
How much does Fiona weigh?
I also feel conflicted about trying a 15-year-old as an adult in America. I'm just going to be honest. I don't like that.
And shot 11 people, killing 4.
I don't know that anybody will feel safe sending their kids back to school until they know exactly what happened here.
Why do you feel more lenient towards this kid than Kyle Rittenhouse? They're both kids. Because he brought the gun to school. Kyle Rittenhouse went to a protest with a gun with the hopes that he could use it. He demonstrated that he talked about how he would use it. This other kid, on the other hand, and even then, I've also talked about how Kyle Rittenhouse is also a perfect situation for rehabilitation. The difference between this kid, who's 15 years old, versus Kyle Rittenhouse, who was 17 at that time, months from being 18. Okay, the main difference there is, and those 2 years are huge in these formative years, obviously, is that I thought Kyle Rittenhouse would also be a perfect
3 months
person for rehabilitation, a perfect case for rehabilitation. I said it even back then. Except rehabilitation starts with accountability. And Kyle Rittenhouse never even faced repercussions for his actions. As a matter of fact, he got celebrated.
3 months in brain is
got
starting
broad
to
celebration. And the criminal justice system let him walk away. So that is the difference. Yeah, the difference between a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old is gigantic in comparison to someone between the ages of 30 and 32.
6 months already, small hassle.
And I also think Kyle Rittenhouse's parents are responsible for his behavior too, for the record.
Bing bong.
Yeah. Like, he was informed, his parents were informed. Like, time and time again, and they just leaned into it. You really think there's a huge difference in 2 years? Like, seriously, Lamau? Yes. There's a huge difference between 11 and 13. There's a huge difference between 13 and 15. And there's a huge difference between 15 and 17. Yes. Are you kidding me? Were you not?
9 months.
Are you currently 14, so you don't understand?
Pepe latte time.
Did you forget that there's a difference between like entering puberty and like exiting puberty? Like, you had to have not experienced it yet, or forgot, like got hit in the head when you were, you know, in your puberty stage, and just don't remember how big of a difference it makes. Even when you're 13, you know it's a huge step to 15. Yeah. Even the difference between like 21 and 23 is gigantic. I'm a different person. I grew a lot from 23 to 25. 25 plus is over. You're done. That's it. That's your fucking shitty ass personality. It's going to be very difficult to change after that. But up to 25, there's a huge amount of growth that you experience in those formative years, for sure.
Yep.
I mean, not to say that like change is impossible after 25. Obviously, it's not. But it becomes, I think, a little bit harder. Your shell is more hardened. That's just your personality that's like formed at that point.
And the school district wants a third-party investigation into the incident to look into all the interactions the accused shooter had with staff and students. Michigan's Attorney General is volunteering to take that on.
If there were two people 15 and almost 18 dating, you would see how big of a deal is 2 years. Yeah, I've talked about this before, like a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old dating. Like, I don't have a problem with that. But people fucking lose their minds over it. Like I've said before, that like 17 and 19, 2 years, but people still freak the fuck out over it. But now those very same people are saying 2 years is not that big of a difference. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, you know?
Gail?
Michael, thank you so much.
Let's bring in Oakland County.
Even though he's 15, is it difficult to realize that killing someone hurts people in such a big way? Like, you can't tell me he's unable to at least be a little empathetic. No, wait, what? What are we talking about? Are we talking about Kyle Rittenhouse, or are we talking about this kid? Because we don't know what his fucking mental state is at all. Dating and murdering people are not equivalent here. No, I wasn't making an equivalency there at all. I was talking about, like, the age gap. The difference between an 18-year-old in a murder case and it still is derived from the same place, which is like your mental faculties. Okay, that's why. That's the point. Your mental faculties and how your brain operates is the main reason why people fucking talk about it. There's a big difference. Yeah, no, there is a big age gap between 19 and 17. Okay, there is, but that doesn't change the fact that, like, for dating purposes, it's not like that fucking weird. I don't think.
Any chance you can talk about the Red Hill Petroleum leak going on in Hawaii?
Dating and murdering someone is totally similar when your parents are right-wing MAGA hogs. Honest question, would you want the Oxford shooter to be tried as an adult if he was 17? Sorry, I hope this sends on mobile. Maybe. I don't know. I still do think he's a victim, though, in that situation, in some ways. All right, stop derailing the stream. Michigan prosecutors talking about the case against the alleged school shooter parent.
Prosecutor McDonald, thank you for joining us this morning. We saw Mr. Crumbley shaking his head right there. Why don't you lay out the case against the parents?
Good morning. It's somewhat unique to charge parents, but in this case, there was such overwhelming evidence. I do want to point out these are merely allegations. They are innocent until proven guilty. And I am ethically bound only to release the facts that have already been made public in the swear-to in open court. However, there is evidence to suggest that they purchased that weapon for their 15-year-old, bragged about it online, thought this was some joyous occasion as a present, and in combination with mom's social media post, son's social media post, the gun was his, and he had free access to it. And then the signs there, such warning signs. The day before about the ammunition, mom's lack of concern. In fact, she seems to be encouraging that behavior. And then, of course, that morning with the meeting where the drawing and the notes were found, it's just goes beyond any sort of mere negligence or mistake. It's criminal.
You said the gun was stored unlocked when you announced the charges last week. Their defense attorney says it was locked. Are you positive it was unlocked? And would it change your case if it was indeed locked?
He had access. So whether it was locked or not.
Yeah, like, this is such a silly fucking thing, okay? If your 15-year-old can get the gun, which we know he did, okay, it doesn't matter if you locked it or not. It's literally the same as just having it out on the fucking kitchen counter, okay? It's about access. It's literally about access. If he can easily access the key, okay, if you can easily access the key and open the safe, it doesn't fucking matter if there is a safe to even begin with. Okay.
Donkey collab when?
Oh, I did not know that that part of your take is reasonable now. What do you mean? Like, the whole point of having a safe. Are we defending a 15-year-old murderer? No, we're not defending him at all. There's no defense for fucking being a 15-year-old who goes to school and kills a bunch of their schoolmates. Like, the fuck are you talking about? Why are you so desperate to, like, you know, spear dick your own narrative into this conversation? Like, you're fantasizing about me defending this person. Is your argument blaming the parents for owning the gun or being them stupid enough to raise their kid better? My argument is multifaceted. 1, there were a lot of warning signs that the parents conveniently fucking ignored. 2, they literally did not punish or keep a watchful eye on their child when he was also, when they were notified of these warning signs. Including the whole, oh, if you're looking for ammo, like, don't, you know, tell people. And 3, buying a fucking gun for their child, okay? Buying a fucking handgun for their child is ridiculous. I'm not forgiving the kid.
But
it's ridiculous to say that they are not even remotely culpable in this when the kid is 15 fucking years old. The weird part about this is the state, and I think this could be used against them. The weird part about this is the state is currently saying that this kid should be tried as an adult, but then simultaneously shifting the responsibility of his parents. So if he's an adult and he's culpable individually for his actions, okay, then technically the parents can't really be charged in a similar context. So that's what I don't understand about it, where it's like, on the one hand, you're saying it's a kid and therefore he shouldn't have the gun, and therefore the parents are responsible for their negligence, and their parents are responsible for, like, not hiding the gun from the child. But then also simultaneously they're saying, well, this is not a child, this is a fucking adult. So it is a very weird way to do this kind of, it's a very weird way to sue someone. Okay? Like, they can be accomplices if he's an adult. I know, but aiding and abetting applies to adults. Yeah, but there's a different burden of responsibility when it comes to aiding and abetting when you're talking about aiding and abetting a school shooter versus the parents ignoring the warning signs. A burden of proof, sorry. Did I say burden of responsibility? Yeah, there's a different burden of proof for aiding and abetting between two adults versus the negligence of the parents, because one implies that the kid can't act on his own, and like the parents have a lot more responsibility over their child, and their negligence has led to manslaughter, murder, right? And in the other, you're like, the parents are supplying him with a gun as an accomplice.
I always find out about the best adult toys thanks to your Twitter. Thanks, brother.
Anyway, is it weird? Is it hard as a judge whether he's a criminal or not? The fucking top of the hour ad break? Jesus Christ, dude. This is a serious story, which is why I didn't want to fucking. I was trying to like get. I was trying to do the ad break after the story, okay? And you're over here fucking shoving an ad break into this conversation. Here, at the top of the hour, there's a 6-second ad break. It's the first of the day. Okay? If you no longer want to see those ads, you have the burden of seeing ads as a Twitch streamer if you're unsubscribed, if you're not subscribed. But if you subscribe, you will no longer see those ads, okay? Here, I'll aid and abet you in stopping the ad breaks. You subscribe for $5. You can subscribe for free with a Twitch Prime. If you have a Twitch Prime, you haven't used it yet, you use it here. Or you can get a gifted sub. Sometimes those are dished out. A bunch of people gifted subs earlier in the day that I didn't read. So thank you for all the people that gifted subs. L. Caldwin, I am the Dingus. and that's it. That's how you do it. Here's the ad break now.
He had access to it. Securing a weapon doesn't mean just locking it if you're going to just allow a minor or somebody you think might be dangerous.
Hugh Crowell and Foreign Panda Bear, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
Just free access to unlock it. So no, I'm not positive because, you know, we're still, these are just allegations, but the evidence shows at this point that he absolutely had free access to that weapon. And in fact, it was purchased for him.
Are the parents cooperating?
I can't make any statement about either defendant and whether or not they've made statements. I can just tell you that this is a terrible tragedy. And at some point, we have to acknowledge that all of the training and all of the events that we lead to kids, teaching them to hide under desks and what to do in an active shooter situation is really important. And in this case, everything was done perfectly, except that 4 kids were still murdered and several others injured, not to mention the hundreds of other kids who were in that school, and their lives will never be the same, nor will the community. So that the parents are responsible, and I think that they should be held accountable. None of that would have happened if he had not had access to a handgun.
That is clearly true, but there were also a lot of other warning signs as well. Any chance the school could face charges?
I think the school fucked up too. I'll say it. I think the school fucked up as well. I don't know what more they could have done, but I think the school fucked up too. I mean, dude, when a 15-year-old walks into a school with a fucking handgun, everyone around them fucked up. Okay? Everyone around them. That's the truth. Everyone around that kid fucked up. Every adult in that kid's life that at least knew a little bit about them or was operating as a guardian, because that's what you are when you're at a school. When you're an adult at a school, you're technically responsible for the kids for the duration of their time in the school. Right? Not the other kid's fault. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. No. No, I'm talking about fucking the parents that are like, Awick too, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
Has not been presented to our office. That's a investigative process that I'll leave to law enforcement. I can tell you that there is outrage in the community. I can tell you that we all should be looking at the events that led up to that horrific event, and as a community, as a school, as a nation, talk about what could have been, what we could have done different so that didn't happen. And in this case, a lot could have been done different. I mean, that meeting, he was allowed to go back to school. We know that he either had that weapon with him or someplace where he could have stored it in the school, but he had it in the school. There's no question. And leaving the decision to parents about whether he goes home or not. I mean, I just want to point out, too, I mean, you can't even in an airport mention anything that even remotely indicate that there might be some sort of violence on a plane. You'll be immediately extracted. And yet we have a kid who is, as you reported, saying some pretty concerning things, and he was allowed to go back to school, and neither parent mentioned that he had access to a weapon, and that
I feel like I know you on a personal level now, and
it's not just tragic. It's not just disappointing. I believe it's criminal.
Prosecutor McDonald, thanks very much.
All right.